Hello there, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani, and this is your show. This is a worldwide platform where we come together, we share our lived experiences, our knowledge, our wisdom, our understanding, our questions, our comments. You get the picture. Okay, Take Two family, I'm going to say it. No one can hold me back today. Don't get started with your weekend yet. You know how I love Fridays, but I love to have a very robust discussion going into the weekend so it can give some really good food for thought and some profound discussions that we can all have with our families during the couple days of the weekend. So please call in. I'm going to give you the topic and the question actually for today, and that is: do you love your own company? Do you love being by yourself? Do you love when everybody's out of the house and it's just you in the home, and you have it all to yourself, and you can just read the books you want to read and play the music you want to play and turn on the television and eat whatever you want to eat and have that kind of routine by yourself? Do you enjoy your own company? Now let's just make it crystal clear. We're never alone, right? Because our guardian angels are right beside us. So we're never truly alone. And a lot of us have, pets and things like that to keep us company. So we do have that kind of interaction at times. Now, but there are many of us that really do enjoy being by ourselves and having our own kind of routine without anybody interrupting it or getting involved, or you have to serve anyone or be there for anyone. So do you like or love your own company? You like to be by yourself? Maybe you find being by yourself very uncomfortable. You don't like it at all. And you really want people around you, because we're made for community. That is true. So any which way you want to look at it, that's the beauty of how we tackle these topics on Take Two, is we cover from all different angles. So here's how it works. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. Pull over safely to the side of the road, make your call, and put in your contribution to this discussion on liking your or loving your own company, being by yourself. It just you really enjoy just having that time alone, so you can pray and not have anybody interrupt your prayer session. So there's so many angles we can cover this, but I really need full phone lines. So here we go. Matt Kabinski's opened up the phone lines, and you need to dial in 833-288 EWTN. Put it on your refrigerator. Come on, you guys. 833-288-3986. Do you enjoy your own company? 833-288-3986. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. We want to hear from you. If you're listening to Take Two, we consider you part of the Take Two family. So you can call in and be on air with me and talk with me, and that would be great. You'll talk to Matt Gabinski first. He's wonderful to talk to. I just chatted with him yesterday. We caught up. It was fantastic. We had a wonderful chat. So you can do that as well. It'll be a quick chat, but then I'll put you on hold. You get to listen live, and then you can slip right into the discussion. Charles Beery is at the controls. He's our fine producer, doing a great job. We have Ace McKay on social media today, so I'm waving to everybody on the chats. Put in your comments there. Yes or no? Do you like your own company? So don't sit this out. Don't get started with your weekend. Fill those phone lines. Go quickly to the phones. I don't like to leave anybody on the lines at the end of the show. This is a very quick hour. The whole idea of Take Two is we come together as the body of Christ. We learn and grow together. We walk away from this hour, hopefully a little bit changed, a little bit closer to God. I've said it for 9+ years. I keep saying it. Do you know why I repeat myself every single show? There's a reason, because we have new listeners, and you'll see that first-time callers come in and they'll say, I'm a first-time listener, first-time caller. It's beautiful. So the family is expanding. That's a good thing. But it requires us to kind of reset every single episode. And I really and truly need you to fill those phone lines. 833-288-EWTN. Do you like being by yourself? Do you enjoy your own company? Maybe you feel uncomfortable. Some people actually feel very uncomfortable being the only one in an adoration chapel. Some people like to be the only one in an adoration chapel. We can talk about that as well. I'll share my thoughts on it. It's very interesting. You learn a lot, especially I was talking to a dear friend this morning about working at the parish level, and it's funny how you pick up certain things that you just like when you're working at a parish, and you get very particular about your routine. And so maybe you're working at a parish right now in ministry work. You can share with us how you feel about it. Some people like to have a quiet office or a quiet adoration chapel, or even go into the church and just sit when no one's around. It's quite peaceful. Or you like a lot of noise. You like a lot of activity. That's what keeps you happy. So we can cover this from many, many different ways. But if you don't fill the phone lines, you're just going to hear me talking about it, and I'll share story after story after story of my childhood. Okay, I'm just kidding. I won't do that on this Friday. But I really need to hear from you. You got to have a little sense of humor on Friday. Okay, it's like Fun Friday. Everybody looks forward to Friday. See, Charles got my joke. He started laughing. He sent an LOL over. That means, he's laughing out loud, stuff like that. And that you gotta have a little sense of humor, because life is hard. Okay, it's difficult right now. People are going through some really tough things. I'm going through a lot, and it's you just got to keep up the attitude of gratitude, and just be grateful to be breathing and alive, and we can come together. And this is exciting to be able to come together as the Take Two family. So fill those last open phone lines. If you're driving, I'd prefer you to pull over safely to the side of the road rather than drive and talk on air, because I just find that to be dangerous, even though it's a hands-free device. So if you can pull over safely to the side of the road, I think it's important for you to call in. Now, I'm going to say this because the Holy Spirit is always moving, always moving. If you feel prompted by the Spirit, say yes. Say yes and call in. We are very friendly. I can assure you of that. 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986. Do you enjoy being by yourself? I have to tell you something. Okay, so when my kids were little and they went off to school and my husband went to work, I was a stay-at-home mom. I loved having the house all by myself. I loved it. It was so much fun. Anyway, those are back in the day. My kids are all grown now. But we want to hear from you. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Pick up those last couple open phone lines. Do you like being by yourself? Call in.
The Immaculate Heart of Mary signifies the great purity and love of the heart of the Blessed Virgin Mary for God. It points us to her profound interior life, where she experienced both joys and sorrows, yet remained faithful, as we too are called to do. August is dedicated as the month of devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Consider doing something special for Our Lady. Enroll in the Brown Scapular, wear a miraculous medal, begin praying the Angelus or the Memorare daily. You can find art, medals, pendants, prayer cards, and more devoted to Our Lady at EWTNRC.com.
This is Jerry Usher. If you missed part of today's show, catch the encore tonight at midnight Eastern or anytime at EWTN Podcast Central. Visit us at EWTN.com/radio/podcasts.
Hi, this is Father Mike Schmitz. Please join me for Ascension's Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year here on EWTN Radio. We're going through the entire Bible and the Catechism in 365 days. If you've ever wanted to understand what it means to be Catholic and allow those truths to shape your life, this is for you.
Bible in a Year and Catechism in a Year with Father Mike Schmitz, tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific on EWTN Radio.
Do you like being by yourself? That's the question I'm asking today on Take Two. This is your show, so please fill those phone lines. All you have to do is call this number, 833-288-3986. Kathleen, hold on, in Coleman, Alabama. Hold on just one second. I want to share with our listeners something. Audible. EWTN podcasts are available on Audible. Weekday shows from the Sunrise Morning Show through Ave Maria radio in the afternoon, plus the latest weekend programming. You can find it all on the Audible app. Oh, I love that. That's so easy to do. Okay. Love it. Okay. I just had to make a note of that because that is so cool. It's all on Audible. See, I can do the show and make notes for after the show. By the way, I picked up some really cool stuff, or I should say I haven't paid for it yet. I've just marked it on EWTNRC.com. Remember I told all of the Take Two family I started my Christmas shopping already, and I always do spiritual gifts. And oh my goodness, dude, they have such cool items right now. EWTNRC.com. Check it out, folks. Just don't buy the things that I bought. Just kidding. You're not gonna. You won't. Okay. Let's go to Kathleen. Oh, we got an open phone line. Somebody just dropped. What happened? Why couldn't you wait? 833-288-3986. I get a little punchy on Fridays. I'm just letting everybody know. Kathleen in Coleman, Alabama, Sirius XM 130. That's the way Kathleen is listening. Welcome to Take Two.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name. My comments when you talked about that, do you like your own company? I've learned how to like my own company, and as a mentor, this is a situation that happened many years ago. We had a restaurant, and one of our employees came in on her afternoon off, and I asked her what she was doing at the restaurant. She said, well, I've got nothing to do. And I said, none of your friends are available? And she said, no, there's nobody around. And I said, are you uncomfortable with your own company? And she looked at me as if I was talking gibberish. And I said, it's important for you to learn how to like your own company. Mm-hmm. She was 16, 17 years old. 5 years later, she came into the restaurant with her triplets. And she came up to me and she said, I long to have a moment of my own company. She had finally figured out how important it was.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, I will say something, though, Kathleen. Wouldn't you agree, being in the hospitality industry, restaurant industry, you do get used to that adrenaline rush of all the activity. You know, it does feel like there's a lot happening. There's always something going on. So I can see where she was drawn to that because she didn't want, but now having triplets, I mean, yeah, she probably needs some time alone.
Yes, the hospitality life is definitely an adrenaline rush. And so getting that time to myself was a blessing.
Yeah.
God bless you all. Thank you for allowing me to talk about my story.
Thank you, Kathleen. Now you can get started with your weekend. God bless you. Thank you so much for starting us off in this beautiful conversation about being in love or like with your own company, being by yourself. You enjoy that. By the way, I just want to circle back to, I was sharing about Audible and Ave Maria in the afternoon on Ave Maria Radio. Check it out, folks. It's really a wonderful, wonderful show. I just want to remind our listeners about it, Ave Maria in the afternoon, because I just received a message saying that they really absolutely are enjoying the show, and it's really helpful information. So Kathleen just freed a phone line. That means you can pick it up if you'd like to share if you like being by yourself or you like being in a large crowd. Maybe you're from a very big family. I'm one of 6. I enjoyed all that noise with having family around. It was wonderful when it was fun and there was laughter. When it started getting into arguments and stuff like that, that wasn't much fun. So I preferred to be alone at that point. Good thing we had a big backyard so everybody could just go outside and go walk around and get away from each other. So that was good. But so you see how we cover this from all angles. So I really need to hear from you. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Let's hear what Den has to say in North Dakota, listening on Alexa. Hi, Den.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
Hello. Good. I'm great. It's Friday.
I know. I love Fridays. Go right ahead.
So I love being alone. And I feel like being alone really helps me with my relationship with the Lord. So, like, I grew up being alone because my father died when I was 2, and so my mother was a single mom. She worked downtown Chicago. So I spent a lot of my childhood by myself. That's kind of why I like being alone in my dorm, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you just like the quiet? And you said it allows you to get closer to the Lord. So you can think about God, you can pray, you can talk to God without anybody interrupting you, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I'm alone, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. Like, if I'm doing one of my hobbies, like woodwork or something like that, like,
Right.
I have a picture of the Lord up in my wood shop, and before I actually work on something, you know, I pray to the Lord. I'm like, hey, you help me with this. You know, your hands in this make it better. You know, I talk to the Lord the whole time, and I feel like, you know, it's able, when other people aren't around, I feel like I'm able to just focus on the Lord and what I'm doing, and while I'm doing whatever I'm doing, whether it be jogging or woodworking, like I said, I can just focus on the Lord.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a dad. Somebody talked about triplets earlier. Man, if I got a story, I'll keep it short.
Sure.
But in 2016, through Catholic Charities North Dakota, we were chosen to adopt twins. I prayed hard for twins, by the way, so that was an answered prayer. And then 2 weeks after we were chosen, my wife and I found out we were pregnant. So it's like we had triplets in 2016. So when all those kids go to bed, sometimes I go to the church and I get some adoration time, and again, alone with the Lord. And it's just time to reflect on the day and my family and fatherhood.
Wow.
Great.
So, Dan, let me ask you this question before I let you go. I have to tap into this because you're a father, you're a husband, you're close to the Lord. Were you always like this, or what made you become closer to the Lord? Because I wonder if others are picking up on this right now. I mean, I know when I send, well, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I know when my husband goes outside to do a project or something, I don't know if he's thinking of the Lord or talking to the Lord. That's interesting. I'm going to ask him. When did this start to develop in you?
No, I was not always close with the Lord. My father was Catholic. Like I said, he died when I was 2. My mother, she was not raised with any kind of faith. But before my father died, he made her promise. He's like, hey, I want this kid to be Catholic. I was an only child. So she raised me Catholic. I went to Catholic school. I was not catechized very well in the 80s. I'm just going to say it right there. So everybody that I went to elementary school with that I still keep in contact with, we all fell away from faith. That's a really sad story. But, you know, the seed was planted when I was little by my mother. And that seed blossomed because my wife and I wanted to get married. Her parents were Catholic. They go to church. They do religious formation for the married couples, you know, pre-Cana. And they said, hey, if you're going to get married, you know, of course, you know, I asked permission from her father. I was like, hey, can I marry you? And he said, yeah. And he said, but you got to get married in the church. And my wife and I, at that time, we were not going to church. We were living in sin. We were cohabitating. We were sinful people. But through the pre-Cana process, we talked to the priest, and you know, I had a lot of questions about the faith that he was able to answer. And he was a very knowledgeable guy. And it's because of that priest in pre-Cana that my wife and I, like, we talked, and we said, hey, you know what, maybe this is the truth. And ever since then, we've been going to church, you know, every week, you know, following the faith. And now we're on fire. And our kids are on fire with the Holy Spirit. And it's all because of that one priest.
Yeah.
And the seed that was planted by my mother.
Amazing story. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I think, you know what, I'm so glad you called in today and you shared with the world, because I think you might have helped other souls. In fact, I know you probably did help the other souls, especially dads and husbands. I think that's important, Dan. Thank you. Keep talking, keep telling your story. It sounds like you're comfortable telling your story, but keep doing it. We need more of you out there.
Amen. You have a blessed weekend.
Oh, thank you. You as well. I'm gonna ask, yeah, thanks. That's so sweet. I'm gonna ask my husband if he talks to God when he does the land, the cutting the trees and trimming and stuff. I'm going to ask him. That's a good question. That's fabulous. Den, thank you so much. Okay, Den's going to free that phone line for you to pick it up. So you see what kind of discussion we're having here? It's fantastic. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to get started with your weekend and then you're going to say, you're going to have regrets. You're going to be so bummed out that you didn't call in and share because you felt that little tug in your spirit and you just ignored it. That's not good. So come on, you guys, let's go. Fill up those last phone lines. And I'm going to get back to the phones in just a second. I just got to give the number, 833-288-EWTN. If I could talk today on Friday, that would really help. And I just wanted to say another way, obviously, the numbers, 833-288-3986. But there's another way. You can text the letters EWTN to 58177. You wait for our response. Then you text us your first name and your brief question or comment about if you like your own company. And message and data rates may apply. Now, why am I highlighting this? Because we've gotten some texts, and that's so cool. Charles and I were so excited about it. Charles is our producer. And I said, this is so cool. We're so high tech. We're getting text messages. So please text us. That would be fantastic. But let's get back to the phones. I want to get to Pat. Pat's in Tennessee on the iHeart radio. Hi, Pat.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. Pat from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
I like being by myself, but it wasn't always that way. I'm single. I raised 2 boys. They're out in the world just doing their boy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to church yesterday, went to service, and everybody was mingling around. But we had adoration right after church. And you know what? I couldn't get into it. And then finally, it got quiet as a mouse in there. And I turned around, and I was the only one left in adoration, and I had the best time. I come from a very big family. I'm a cradle Catholic, but I'm also a convert. That's a story for another day. Newly coming back into the church, so I have a lot to learn. And I have been so active as a convert. I taught children's church, Bible study, VBS. In the military, I'm retired military, and kudos to your military program from the bishop the other day.
Yes,
you
Bishop Coffee.
And Jerry asked the most awesome questions. You asked all the questions we would have asked. Love that program.
Thank you. Thank you so
and
much.
We just, so I've been active and active with people. Now I'm in the Catholic Church. Nobody knows me yet. And I have so much quiet time instead of everybody tugging at me, this class, that class, this person misbehaving, because I did children's and teens, and I also do the jail ministry. So when I do have time by myself, thank you, Jesus, because we just have a good time.
I love that. You are so amazing, Pat. That's so cool. You know, I feel the same way as you. I love being in the chapel or in the main church area by myself. I find it to be so, I don't know, it just kind of, it overwhelms me in a good way. And I love it. Like sometimes I'll just walk around churches in the inside and around the outside campus. I just think to me, you just know you're on sacred ground. You just know that's the house of God. Yeah. And it's just so powerful. That's why I think when people come back to the church, Pat, well, you'll have to call when we do a show on converts and reverts, because oftentimes they say that when they come back into the church for the first time, they know they're home. Did you feel like that?
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up, because I really would like to share that today. As in, my dad was in the military, and we had lost our mom when I was 5 years old. Mm-hmm. So my dad got us baptized as infants, of course, and my dad died, and I was never really raised in the church. But he did that before he passed away. So I feel like that was a homing thing for me that I didn't know about, till I'm 67. I'm 67 right now, 30 years as a Protestant. But then something was calling me back, and thank you, Lord, for putting that in my dad before he passed away, and I've never been happier.
Oh, well, oh, wow. Welcome home. Pat, you are awesome. And you know what? You have the most youthful sounding voice and spirit, so keep that up. God bless you. Thank you for sharing with the Take Two family today. I really, really appreciate it. I wish I could talk longer, but you're going to hear the music. There it goes. See, Charles is right on cue. He's like the best producer ever. Well, we had Ace and others, and they were good producers too. But Charles is right on top of things. We're going to get to Cecile after this break. Cecile, hang on from Kingwood, Texas, and the others. You can jump in 833-288-3986. Do you enjoy being by yourself? I'll be right.
Join Archbishop Jose Gomez in sharing the good news.
Jesus tells us, "Come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while." This is what Jesus wants for every soul. Sometimes we can get so busy, so burdened, so anxious by the things of our world. The human heart is restless until it rests in the Lord, as St. Augustine said. Resting in Christ, the peace of Christ, begins with a relationship of love. That relationship we can only know in silent reflection and prayer. We need to rediscover the beauty and power of just being still in God's presence and seeking His will for our lives.
Visit lacatholics.org to find ways to connect with our faith community in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
You're invited to this year's Divino Niño Festival at the Shrine of the Most Blessed Sacrament in Hanceville, Alabama. It's Saturday, August 31st, starting at 9 a.m. There'll be concurrent talks on the child Jesus in English and Spanish, Rosary with the Poor Clares of Perpetual Adoration, a festival mass, procession, and Eucharistic healing service. Lunch will be available for purchase. For more information, go to olamshrine.com. That's olamshrine.com. We'd love to see you.
Never miss any of your favorite EWTN television or radio shows when you have the Amazon Fire TV player. All you need is a high-speed internet connection, a TV, and the Amazon Fire TV player.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. Bring your questions later today on Catholic Answers Live. We'll do our best to get you an answer. Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Okay, the answer is no. Okay, I cannot keep up this this lighthearted sense of humor every single show. I'm getting messages saying, "Why can't you be like this every single day?" I can't. It's just too much. It's only on Fridays, so you got to tune in. Okay, Cecile, hold on. I'm going to get to you in just about 15 seconds. I just want to do a big shout out and congratulations going out to another member of the EWTN radio family, KFIP FM 107.3 in Kailua Kona, Hawaii. Is celebrating, I love Hawaii, by the way, 7 years with EWTN. Congratulations to Kathy Warren and her great team at Faith Up from your friends here at EWTN. I love Hawaii. Have I said that enough? I haven't been back in many, many, many years. I want to go to Hawaii again someday before I meet the Lord. Okay, Cecile in Kingwood, Texas, on our friends at Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Cecile. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Debbie. How you doing today?
I'm great. I'm having a great time. I don't know why. I don't have any plans. I'm not like doing anything exciting. I'm just working the rest of the day, but I'm just in a good mood.
Well, you have a happy heart anyway, so that's where it comes from.
Oh,
you have a
I
happy
love you.
heart. You really
Thank
do.
You.
And we all have our ups and downs, but you go through it and you lift us all up.
Thank you. Cecile, could you do me a favor? Tell my husband that, will you?
I love it. That's cute.
I'll pay you $5. Okay, go right ahead. So do you like being by yourself?
Well, I'll be honest with you. God blessed me with 5 children and a wonderful husband, but I lost my husband. It'll be 25 years this December, but it's still painful, you know. And I've actually was forced into being alone. But, you know, I read where C.S. Lewis said that the Lord sometimes wants certain people to be alone. And I figured I have to embrace that. And that's where he wants me, and that's what I have to accept. Although it is painful, but it is also redeeming too, you know.
Sure.
So, but I do like to be I just came from adoration. It was nice and quiet by myself. And then a funeral came in, and all, you know what, broke loose, all this noise. But luckily I finished my hour, and then I left. But, yes, to be alone before the Blessed Sacrament, in that quiet solitude, the sacredness, you can't beat it. And that's, I feel like I'm in another world, leaving when I open those doors and go through them. All the chaos of the world is gone. And we're right now, which is important, right this second.
Do you want so can I share something with you privately but publicly?
Absolutely.
So last week I was at church, and there was only like 3 people in church, and so it's a very big parish. And I was sitting in this one section where there was no one. And I thought to myself for one moment, I'm just curious if you've ever thought like this. I'm sitting here, I'm sitting in the pew, and I'm going, okay, Lord, I don't want to go back into the world, and I really don't want to leave. Can I just like make this little bench my home?
Exactly. That's where your solace and your everything comes alive.
Yeah.
The world, life messes up our whole being sometimes. But there is your refuge, your hope, your peace. I tried to tell a lot of people when they're having problems, I said, don't look to this, just go sit before the Blessed Sacrament for a few minutes, and then you can increase it. But just if you can't pray, say one word, say help, and he'll help you. You just have to trust.
You got to
trust.
trust.
Not easy sometimes, but we have that benefit to trust and follow his will. So that's where I'm at with that. And like I said, I've learned to be alone, and now I need to see why it's God's will. Let's put it that way. I have to accept it.
Right. So you said your husband passed a long time ago. Do we have your husband's first name in the book? And because God stands outside of time, so we're always praying for those that have departed.
Please. Yes, his name is George.
George. Oh, I love that name. Well, because my last name is Georgiani. I love George. Okay. So I love St. George too. Cecile, let me ask you a question. So you have 5 kids. Are you close with the kids?
Well, in a way I am, but they have their own lives, and I try to be independent and not ask for help. But I know I can certainly depend on them when I ask, you know. So I try to respect their family, you know, that kind of thing. But then when you mentioned about the church, our parish here in Kingwood, St. Martha's, Mary and Lazarus, we have over 8,000 families.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big, big church. But it's beautiful, and the people are so warm and loving. I thanked the Lord when I came out of church. I said, Lord, although I'm alone, you have sent me so many beautiful, wonderful, holy people in this parish. And I know that you brought them to me, and that was your gift to me, and I can never repay you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know it was you.
Oh.
And that's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
He sends people your way if you're feeling sad or alone. He sends angels of mercy. Really.
Absolutely. He doesn't want us to be miserable. He wants to comfort us. Well, we have our guardian angels too that are constantly trying to lift us up. Cecile, I have to tell you something. It's not because you had the nice, kind words when you started off this call about me. I appreciate that. You are just a delight to talk to. Thank you so much for brightening my day. I know you did others as well.
You don't give yourself enough credit, Debbie. When I first heard you, I said, oh, what a kind, loving voice. I have to meet this lady. And you don't give yourself enough credit. And I know you're being humble, and that's beautiful. But take credit where credit's due. You are very heartwarming and very loving in your voice and your words. So don't underestimate yourself. Don't.
Oh, Cecile, thank you so much. God bless you. And you're making me cry, and I just love you. If you ever feel prompted or you want to stay in touch, please email me, take2@EWTN.com. It comes right to me. I'd love to stay in touch with you.
I'd love to stay in touch with you too, my dear. And we're also compadres with them being Italian.
Oh, there you go. We're sisters. There you go. I love that. Thank you so much. That is awesome. I love that. It's so interesting. You'll have to find me on Facebook at Debbie Georgiani. I'm posting all these things on Sicily and Italy. Boy, the water there is so crystal clear all around the island of Sicily. It's completely clear all the way down to the bottom of the floor of the waterways around Sicily. Unbelievable. So, Cecile, you'll get a kick out of that if you're on Facebook. Just find me at Debbie Georgiani. But thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you for gracing this conversation and contributing today about feeling comfortable with self. Thank you, Cecile. I'm going to give the number and then I'm going to go to Frank and the others. So please call in and share with the world if you feel comfortable being by yourself, if you like being in the Adoration Chapel by yourself, if you like being at home by yourself, or if you need the company of friends and family around you all the time. By the way, I'm one of these people. I love going to restaurants by myself. I know people don't like it. When I was in the hospitality industry, people would cringe when they would walk up to the hostess stand and they would say, "Table for one, it's just me having dinner." They didn't like it at all. I love going into restaurants, and I should be a food critic. I'm just letting you know. I'm missing my calling because I love going to restaurants and just saying, "Just me. It's just me. Table for one." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, really." I just love it because I can just sit there and I can just do my work and just relax. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. If you like your own company, maybe you don't like your own company. By the way, Cecile, if you're still listening, you're going to love Monday's show. Monday's topic is, do you feel like your parents had a favorite child? Do you feel like your parents had a favorite child? I'll share some stories about my childhood. I just hope my family's not listening. Okay, Frank in Alexandria, Virginia, also listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Debbie. I'm watching my 30-day limit here, and I could go either way with the topic for today, because my dad was a very busy gentleman, and there were times when he just loved being alone, and my big sister was the same way. She could listen to her Bose speakers with her 80s recordings and stuff, and she loved that. And when we'd have parties at the house, I'd hide in my room, and my dad would get on my case, and he'd say, "How come when we have social gatherings, you always hide in your room?" Mm-hmm. So I learned from the Catholic Church that you have to have a balance. Yeah. Nowadays, I wake up, and I don't turn on anything electronic until I take care of the divine reading and text them to my wife, who lives in New York, and I live in Virginia, and this is what I learned being Catholic for 40 years. There's that saying that goes like this: solitude is a great place to visit, but not to stay. Thanks, Debbie. That's my sharing for today.
Wow. Frank, you're amazing. Every time you call, I learn something new from you. You're such a great teacher.
Oh, Debbie, you as well. I was telling the call screener that I'm eating 2 chicken drumsticks with ketchup and French fries. That's fun to do that when you're alone. But they're right. Even God says it's not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helpmate. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And my dad said the same thing about man and woman. They need each other.
Sure.
Debbie, God bless you.
Thank you, Frank. God bless you. Thank you so much. Wonderful call today. We appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to give the number. This is your last chance to dial in and fill those phone lines because there'll be a great way to get going with the weekend. together as the Take Two family. So all you have to do is dial this number. If you like being by yourself, share something. If you don't like being by yourself, also share something as well. We'd like to know. 833-288-EWTN. I keep saying that because it's so easy to remember, and you can put EWTN on your refrigerator. So you can put 833-288-EWTN right on your refrigerator. By the way, I have it on my refrigerator. It's on the side because the front doesn't hold any magnets and stuff like that. But or you can just put the number, you can just print it out and tape it to something. 833-288-3986. Okay, we're going to go to Charles. And Charles is in Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network. Charles, help me with your town. Is it Saginaw?
Yes.
Oh, good. I got it. Okay, cool. Go right ahead.
I was just fascinated as I was driving by from the comments that the gentleman several minutes ago was talking about, the one with the triplets was talking about the talking to themselves, and how then you raised the question about, the subject of the day and so on and so forth. My situation is that I do enjoy being by myself, but not to the exclusion of not being with other people. Otherwise, there seems to be a very, very happy situation of enjoying both and not fearing either. And I know some people deal with those fears of being by themselves, and some people have fears of being with people. But I found that when I'm with myself, that I am not in any way fearful. And I do talk to the Lord just as if he were beside me. And the reason is very, very clear, because he's right beside me. So that simplifies that. But I also do not enjoy conversations and including the Lord. And it all seems so very natural to me to do. But I don't do that to the exclusion of it not being the case when I'm with people either. Because, I just thoroughly enjoy being with people. And I love the conversations that come about as a result of it. And I find it useful to have the Lord right there to bounce off all that's happening at the time.
Do you?
And I thought you'd be interested in knowing that.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating, Charles. I want to just ask you a question before you go. So when you enjoy being with people, I feel the same way. There's times when I really love being with people, and then do you have like an internal clock as to when you go, okay, I've had enough being with people, I want to just kind of retreat and go by myself, or does it just naturally kind of change direction?
I am the recipient of the state that is talked about in whatever state you find yourself. Give praise for the Lord. I don't have that clock.
Okay.
I don't have that gene, I guess, but I do not tire of being around people. Now, that's not to say I don't tire around being around some people that are being offensive. I'm not tired of the people. I'm tired of their behavior sometimes. But it's just like loving the sinner but hating the sin. I love people, but sometimes their behavior is something that turns me off, and I'm ready to leave that. But no, right. I don't. The way that you described it, no, I don't find myself ever being involved in that situation.
Okay.
But that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
Yeah, it is. You seem very, very balanced. Are you?
Well, because of the fact that I've been around for so long and that I have been exposed to so much of the vagaries of life that that I think that's the way the Lord works. He does refine you. He does develop you. He does mature you. That is the process of sanctification that is such a joy to behold, not only in others but in yourself as it happens. So I'm 84 years old. My wife and I have been married for 61 years, and we have 5 children, and they are all they're all living for the Lord. And so we've been so incredibly blessed that it's hard not to be as you were talking, as you might describe it, balanced. And
Right.
I would agree with that.
I have to say something, Charles. You don't sound 84, so God bless you. But I was chuckling when you were saying that you've been around a long time, because I've been around a long time too, but I don't think I've matured yet. I still have kind of the Peter Pan thing going on, which is not good. Like I'm the youngest. You have a big family. So the youngest of a big family tends to be a little bit of a free spirit sometimes. And that's kind of where I'm at. And I that's why I'm trying to tap into, I love the way you just seem so centered. That is so cool. Way to go, Charles. That was an awesome. Go ahead.
Yeah. My pleasure. My youngest daughter has that same characteristic. She is the one that not only is the free spirit, she's also the one that is the most creative. Mm-hmm. And she's involved in the ministry of her church as the person that does a lot of the computer and a lot of the creative not advertising, but promotion and announcements and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I can see how the fact that could be very easily a characteristic of the youngest child.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think we did, Charles. I was the youngest, so I watched all my brothers and sisters. They're all extremely brilliant, all of them. And so I took little pieces of each one of them, and then I kind of adopted it myself.
Yep. That's a very, very good approach to take, and that's not just for people who are the youngest. It's for all of us.
Yeah. Oh, Charles, you're wonderful. Thank you so much for contributing today. We appreciate it. And God bless you, sir, and thank you. Lynn, hold on. I just want to share with our listeners Conversations with Consequences on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern and Saturday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Conversations with Consequences is the weekly radio show of the Catholic Association hosted by Dr. Gracie Christie. Word on Fire's Haley Stewart joins her to discuss the importance of good children's literature. So Dr. Gracie Christie will be having a great show this weekend. And don't forget to tune in to the Spirit World this weekend, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, because we've got our monthly mailbag. And boy, oh boy, was it interesting diving into the mailbag with all of your questions. Okay, Lynn in North Dakota on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Lynn. Welcome.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Very good. So I just want to share a quick story. I really enjoy being alone. That will always be my preference. But I've also learned over time that that's not necessarily what I'm called to do. Mm-hmm. But the story I wanted to share is I have a overnight adoration hour, partly because no one else is there, and I get to be alone with Jesus, and so it's my favorite thing. And so, last year sometime, I was there, and the person before me left late. So I was kind of getting grumpy, like, you're getting in my way of being alone with Jesus. Mm-hmm. And then she left, and 5 minutes later, I hear the door click again. And sure enough, someone else comes to interrupt my time, my alone time with Jesus in adoration. And she sits on the floor in the adoration chapel and just starts to cry.
Oh.
And I, of course, am a mom, and, kids don't cry alone. So I'm kind of getting a little emotional, and I have no idea why, because I have no idea why she's crying. And at some point she turns around and she says to me, I'm so sorry, but my mom passed away on this day, however many years ago. And so I just needed to come to the Adoration Chapel, be with Jesus. And then I felt, of course, bad, because that's what Jesus is here for. And I was already grumpy that she was getting in my space. And so we talked a little bit about her mom. And then she says to me, and when my mom died, God told me he would send moms when I need them. So when I walked in and I saw you, I just kind of smiled.
Wow.
So here I was, all grumpy, that I didn't get my alone time. And Jesus said, you know what? People need you, and you don't get to choose to be alone. Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to share that, because I think some of us who maybe prefer being alone, we have to remember that we're built for community, and so thankful that we have someone who gets to remind us of that sometimes. So that's all I have.
Well, before you go, I just want to say that was a powerful encounter you had in the chapel, and I agree with you. We all want to get one-on-one with Jesus, possessive of God, right? Because we want that. We want that. We're giving that attention. We want that attention back, and He does give that to us. But what I love, what He provided for you, Lynn, was that it basically, in my humble opinion, He was saying to you, Lynn, you and I are good. We're close. Okay. I need you to help somebody else now. And I love that He put you in that position, and you rose to the occasion and you helped her. And that's huge. I mean, and that's what soul to soul ministry is all about. I love when people go out door to door, one-on-one in ministry. I love it. Now, don't get me wrong. I think radio is fantastic because we're reaching thousands and thousands of souls. And I think it's wonderful to do big conferences and all sorts of things. But when we can do one-on-one, that's the Mother Teresa model. And I just believe God is truly, truly right there in that encounter, because it is so individual. It is so unique. And it is so personal and intimate, and God is an intimate God. What do you say, Lynn?
I agree. I agree completely. And I do think it's important, though, as we just kind of think of what we like. It's also important to push ourselves outside of that. So if you, I think you had a caller on earlier who talked about preferring to not be alone, and now being kind of put into that situation, and those of us who like to be alone, and just accept those gifts as they come, and understand that it's more than about our likes and our dislikes.
Right. Wow. Powerful call. You're going to finish the discussion today. So amazing. The Holy Spirit's working. And that's why Father Thomas Loya of Light of the East says God is sanctifying the airwaves with Catholic radio. I so believe it. I believe these are sacred moments that we are sharing with each other. And we're all going to, hopefully see each other in that heavenly playground, God willing, someday. And I love that. And we're building the relationships now. So Lynn, thank you so much. God bless you. Have a beautiful weekend.
Thank you. You too. God bless you.
Thank you. Okay, a little housekeeping, but I know I'm not going to get to any more calls. You guys are calling in now, so that's wonderful. But you could always join us on Monday. Monday, we're going to be talking about do you feel like your parents had a favorite child? Do you feel that your parents played favorites? I know parents are not supposed to do that. I get it. But sometimes kids feel like, mom is spending so much time with my brother and not with me, or dad is favoring my sister and not me. We just want to talk about it. I actually feel like my parents had favorites. I really do. Not because I don't think they loved us more, like some of us more. I think they liked us. Our personalities were so different. There were 6 of us, very different personalities, I think. And I think my parents gravitated towards certain people in the family. And then it changed over time. I think that's kind of natural. I don't know. We can talk about it on Monday. That's Monday's show. Thank you, Charles. And thank you. Charles is our producer. Thank you, Matt, on the phones. Thank you, Ace, on social media. Social media going just amazing with the chats. I love you guys so very much. All the kind comments. The saint of the day is Saint Stephen of Hungary. So we ask for prayers. And also, the Take Two family, you're always in the prayer book. We have a virtual prayer wall at take2show.com. Thank you to the affiliates that carry the program. Don't forget to tune in to the Spirit World tomorrow. God bless you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I'll see you on Monday.